All right, welcome back to the afternoon's competition here at the New Jersey Open PSP. And I'm Matty Marshall. Going to have Nick and Cube up here shortly. We have Vicious and Chattanooga CEP coming at you right now. Story between these two teams. You know, both of them young pro teams. Vicious had a very dramatic story as they came up the ranks, winning Division I, winning semi-pro, and eventually making their way to pro. And, you know, they're really trying to earn some respect. They have some really good players on the team. They have some great sweet spotters. Chris Hooker, one of the best in the game. He does a great job at that, and then that's going to be one of their keys to victory here in the sense that, you know, a lot of these games have been decided by how well is the team effectively able to put those streams of paint back at the opposing players right off the break. All right, about to watch the start of, they're looking at CEP. All right, Nikki, who do you like in this game?
Looking at CEP to give us, you know, something different. As I say that, they get a 5-minute penalty.
Major penalty immediately on Chattanooga. He's sprinting for the box, and it's a complete bloodbath as Robbie Goldsmith gets shot out of that stand-up can as well. So couldn't tell if he was the one that got pulled for the penalty. Regardless, not looking good right away for CEP.
I believe it's whoever I pick or whoever I talk about, Matt. From last event to this event, it always happens that way.
Just
try and get some
jinxing
props,
like a madman.
Jinxing them.
Yeah, so now Vicious and Parker Rosenthal in the snake, and
they just G'd up all the guys.
Yeah, so nice job by Parker Rosenthal and Brian Bortle also in there right by that flag, as they are going to get a very quick first point against CEP. Now, I was talking about Vicious just before the start of that point. Now, I really am starting to, or CEP is starting to earn some respect. Now, at the same time, they've only won one game so far this year. But look, brand new pro team is, I mean, you want to talk about jumping in with the Sharks. That's exactly what they decided to do. But everybody likes that team. They've been working very hard. They got good heads on their shoulders. And I was actually talking to Robbie Goldsmith before. They were able to practice damage. And that's been one of the things I think they really need. Now, Nikki, you know, you've been involved in so many teams over the years. How important is it for these up-and-coming pro teams to practice other pro teams?
Oh, it is a huge, huge advantage for yourself when you're preparing for a national event and you get to play the field against another professional team, because they're going to give you the looks. They're going to show you everything that's going to be done at the event. Granted, they're not going to show you their bread and butter. They're going to try and show you a couple different things. But for the most part, we could only do a certain amount of things on this field. The front guys could only go to 3 bunkers, you know, on the snake side, only 3 bunkers on the Dorito side.
Yeah, it is a very interesting field. You're looking at it right now. We're going to check out the breakout here from that first point. You're looking at Chattanooga, and you see on this breakout, it's, you know, pretty standard breakout. Very aggressive move up that center. And the referee, though, seeing it looks like a player, he took a hit. You see, he didn't really make any moves in there. But the referee assessing a penalty early, and there's the referee running out. The referee comes over there, pulls that penalty, pulls Robbie Goldsmith on the penalty, and that was pretty much devastation for CEP off the break.
And that's what you can't have happen. You know, you got to have faith in your brothers. You feel yourself get hit, or maybe you didn't, whatever the case may be. But ask for a paint check, get the ref over there, so you don't put yourselves in a you know, back against the wall situation, and you got to start with 4 bodies for the next minute 35.
Yeah, so let's see the breakout. You're looking at Vicious. There's Brian Bortle trying to get out. One-handing
Vicious,
it.
5 alive.
And yeah, Chris Hooker making his move up to the center. Brian Bortle making his move, and very crisp moves.
All alive.
Yeah, only looking at 4 bodies. And the 4 bodies, at least one of them is in the little pin on the pit side of the field. It's really not effective out of there.
And they're not that in a bad situation right now. They just got to lock lanes down and not get too aggressive with their gunfights. They could get the numbers back, so it's a 4-on-4 situation. And what they're trying to do, folks, is run this clock out, run this minute. It's not like they're not playing aggressive paintball. They're playing smart paintball. They want to get that penalty off of the clock and start out the next point with 5 bodies.
Yeah, it's exactly right, Nick. I mean, when you're in that situation, and you know, you've been there a lot of times, like Infamous, though you haven't really, penalties didn't mess with you guys too much this event. You know, a few penalties, not that big of a deal though, you know. But the thing is like, yeah, penalties will kill you every time. We talk about it, time in, time out. So these guys really want to play clean. It does not bode well if they're getting penalties right away.
Yeah, CP is doing a good job. They're locking up both 50 sides. They're locking up the Dorito side and Snake side. As I say that, Bortle makes it in, and so does, I forgot his name.
Chris Hooker making moves in the center.
And they're closing it out. 1 guy alive left. 14 seconds on the clock.
Yeah, Vicious is looking very solid right now. And you can tell the Vicious is playing.
7, 6, 5. They're going to try and run it in. I like that move. I don't want to wait for the guy to come out. You know why? Because now you're starting 5-on-4 still. And now he has to come out in the danger zone.
Yes.
Because everyone's streaking out, shooting into the back center.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to get in positions within that 3-4 seconds and be able to post up on the guy coming out.
Absolutely. Another thing, too, is that it's kind of like what you're saying, but I think that it's better to start for that, even if it's that 3-second beat. It doesn't matter, because what you're really taking away is 20% of their firepower off the break.
Yeah, gun up.
Yeah, and that's such a big thing. I mean, you start the break, and if it's only 3 seconds, he's going to come out blazing and, maybe just keep one in the back center or triple it up, eventually when the guy gets out in 3 seconds. But the point is that I think that's a real smart move on Chris Hooker's part to run that flag in, and then that way he's really able to really keep that breakout on that power play. All right, so we're looking at the breakout from the last point.
On Vicious' side.
Yeah, so nice job, able to get out there. And you see, look at this, very, very tight moves, very coordinated moves. Nice job.
But that's
gets
great
out
on a penalty because you want to get wide and keep them trapped into that center pocket.
And here on the flip side, CEP coming out on the power, they're against the power play. They only have 4 players. They're abandoning the spectator side of the field, and they got a decent spread. But the problem is that look at them. They're in their bunkers. They're all on a knee. They're really not looking to make moves. Which hey, if you're looking at 5 guns, I understand.
For that, I would have looked to make a move actually on that on the show side, because you got 2 guys streaking out and they're running and gunning, which isn't a high percentage, rather than their back center guy shooting one of the sides. And I believe Hooker was over the top shooting at the Dorito side because they knew that side was running. So that freed up the guy coming out to this snake side can, and he's got to do an audible on himself, and I think that just is he's not seasoned enough. He hasn't been in the game that long to make that call in his head and have that weight on his shoulders if he makes the mistake.
Because the responsibility is yours. I mean, hey, it's always going to be your decision. As we see the breakout here, and you see the player coming out of the box, and they're going to have to double out that back center. But the responsibility is always on the player. So it's one of those things. Hey, if you want to change things up, you don't always want to stick the game plan. But during what moves are created that way, So, but the thing is that it is your responsibility for the success or the failure of it, and you have to wear that.
Yeah.
You have to just hey, look, I made a mistake.
Own up to that.
Yeah.
But when you do it and it's a good move, they're proud of you.
Yeah.
Your fans are proud of you. Empire's proud of you.
Yeah. Hey, got to make sure those sponsors are happy, man, or we wouldn't be able to do this. All right, so look at this now. Hooker getting shot out of that back center as Bortle makes his move to the insert bunker. Bortle is a very key player for Vicious. He's one of their front snake guys, and the games that they win are games that he plays well.
I like the way that kid's playing. You know, he plays a smart, slow game, and when he has to, he'll speed it up. But he's getting a lot more reps out here. They're playing him a lot more coming in the snake side, and they'll sit their other snake guy.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting with 2 snakes now. You have the pit side snake, where the players have their staging areas, and then you have the snake on the spectator side by the grandstands. Now, this is the first time we've ever seen this, and I think it threw a monkey wrench in a lot of teams' plans. Infamous yourselves, and then also I think the Russians really were hurt by it as well too, because they just never seemed to find a game plan that worked well, and then I think some individual players were just maybe out of their element.
Well, for us, I know that it was not necessarily the snakes on the side, because we have all snake players.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think it's more Russians.
It was just our game planning.
All right,
it was us.
Bortle coming off early. We'll get to that in a sec, but here we go now.
Get CEP. Zoop's coming down on the snake side, and his buddy running him down. And they got a point up on the board.
So Vicious is going to blow the horn and concede the point, even though they still let Parker Rosenthal get run down. But hey, sometimes you just got to take it.
Yep.
And CEP now on the board. His score is 2-1 in favor of Vicious with 15:58 left on the clock. So Nikki, we just got done with the morning division, with the hardest division out here out of the 2 divisions. And it was a complete and utter bloodbath. I mean, you had a situation where arguably the favorites of the division, yourselves and the Russians, coming out having very disappointing finishes. You guys went 0-4. The Russians went 1-3, and you guys played that last game. And then you had Aftershock, 3 teams going 3-1. And Aftershock, unfortunately, if you guys are just finding this out now, if you are Aftershock fans, they went 3-1, but they're going home.
I can't believe that, but that's the point system, and having 5 teams in your bracket, that's the way it breaks down when you got 3 teams, 3-1, and it comes down to the point spread. And you got to have that point separation to get you over.
Yeah, all right, so we're looking at the breakout. Again, the breakouts have been so key. They always are, but you're looking at the power play right here for CEP coming out with 4 bodies. They got 2 guns up in the center. Now, you notice those 2 guys streaking out to the corners, not shooting their guns off the break. Typically speaking, that's not what you want to do, but when you're on the power play, sometimes it's like just get out alive, and if they felt that's what they needed to do it, then hey, if it works.
Yeah, but from playing this field, Matt, the guys going out to the corners, if you're not going to the Dorito side, if you're going to Snake side, you can't really shoot. You got to have your secondary guy, your fill guy, put paint on that back center to get you in there. You got to just haul it.
Yeah.
And for the Dorito side, you got a lot of bunkers that you could pause in and find the dead zones, the blind spots, as we call them, and get yourself out there.
Yeah.
Without having the help from that secondary guy. That's why it is more beneficial to run with your gun up going to that Dorito side and not so much on the Snake side.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, there's been a lot of that kind of, a lot of guys playing out in those open areas, trying to
Vicious
block
making
a lot of
big
people.
move on that Dorito side, Matt.
Yeah, Vicious.
But Vicious is going to get a
and he decides to change it. Minor penalty.
They were lucky on that one.
Ooh, he brought the red one out.
He was feeling the red.
Yeah, he fought the red for a second. All right, now storming down the
Zoops.
spectator Snake side.
Zoop. He's got to wrap around.
Yeah, number 21 is in a really good spot. Now, basically, for these 2 Snakes, you get to that 50-yard line, you can start doing work from there. There's a lot of work you can do. It's difficult to get there, though.
There's a lot more work to be done on that Dorito side than the Snake side 50 on this side. This side has less shots and more cover, but you're also blinded out from that back center. If you wrap, the Dorito's in your way. You can't shoot cross field except for at that Dorito.
Yeah, and right now you're looking at the overhead eye in the sky view of the Vicious lineup, and they do not have the field position that CEP has. And as you're seeing the bottom left-hand corner screen, there's Zook, number 21, in great field position. Now
they matched it. They got
move
into that 50 side, Dorito side Snake. What Zook needs to do is crawl low, get into the leg segment part, and cross over to Dorito to shoot back at that 50 Dorito. But he's crawling backwards. He knows the shots. He's walked this field. I like that move.
Oh, it looks like he might have
just missed him.
Oh, just missed
but
him.
Now he's scared, that guy. That guy's got to play wire now. Now he's got gun up. He's got to watch his head. But now he can crawl back. No one's even watching him. He can streak down this field and win the game. I hope he does it right now. I hope he's hearing me. That guy just made another move back to the Dorito after.
Yeah, there are no guns on him right now. And, you know, Keen's got to feel that. He's got to, and I had Eric Roberts up here earlier.
CEP just dropped the guy out of that Dorito side, not to cut you off.
Yeah, no, but I just took.
Vicious is
nice job by Vicious. Ooh, he's playing out in the open right now.
Oh, Zoops is shooting him on that side. They got to pinch him out, and they get him.
He was in a very perilous situation over there. Now Vicious filling the Snake again, all the way past the 50 line. Keen might have got a shot on him.
See, but that's the thing. You think going down the field is beneficial. Sometimes it's not. You're playing too fast at that point when your team isn't with you. You got to have an even spread. If you cross their side, you got to have someone with you. He didn't.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's that not only does that come from game planning, but it comes from very much experience playing together with each other. Both these teams now coming up the ranks. I was just talking to Robbie Goldsmith before this game, and he said, hey, we're going all homegrown. We don't want to bring in any pros, which you could argue both ways. That historically speaking, that is not always the most successful way to do things. But hey, you know, it's their program. That's what they want to do. Vicious also
and Zoops got another guy trying to make that move. And they just keep on filling into him. And now he's about to kill it.
Oh, and Robbie lost one. And Zach Sherman able to get in there. Oh, he's
not even hit. Where's he hit?
Back and forth battle here, but it's going to be CEP with the lone survivor. Nice job by CEP to win a very close point. That's Mike Zupa grabbing that flag. So Mike Zupa, last player left alive for Chattanooga CEP, and able to tie it up. So the score is going to be 2-2.
You know what messed me up? Is Zoops used to be 21 because I was 21. Oh. And now I'm 9. I like that. He's 9.
It's like an omen or something. Yeah, so nice job by him to stay alive. So it was it was Daniel Keen here in the Snake doing work for CEP, backed up by Goldsmith. Robbie Goldsmith ended up getting taken out. Very chaotic point, though, Nikki.
Yeah.
But we've seen a lot of that, man. That's what
this has been going down. This field is built on the number one thing in paintball. And I hope all you guys know what the number one thing in paintball is. I know Matt does because he was very great at it. It was communication.
Yeah,
it's communication wins the game.
Yeah, I want to get more of that. Let's watch the breakout here. So you're looking at that. And on the breakout, CEP, Victor for that last point, and they did a really good job breaking out wide, and that's been the key. If you're going to do something chaotic off the break, you still want to keep those guns up. Nice job. Look at that. Vicious all the way into the snake off the break, and here's the end. Little
Look
nice.
right there. He doesn't even get shot.
Yeah, but
This
Zach,
guy should be getting a penalty
but
on Vicious.
I think what it was that Zook was the one that got a shot on him. Maybe just as he got in. I really couldn't see from here. But yeah, well they haven't been shy about throwing penalties. I don't know. How do you think? What do you think's been going on out there?
I actually think they've been doing a great job. The refs have been doing a great job, except for the call on me. I mean, I went into the bunker. I felt the hit. I looked down, and it was underneath my knee pad where I looked. I couldn't see anything. And then the ref's yelling at me. I didn't even pull my trigger. I said, "Am I hit?" And he said, "Yes." I said, "Okay." Pulled myself out, and then he went and found his little yellow flag.
And you've been doing so good recently.
I know. I don't get penalties.
I know.
I don't like that. I'm not allowed to. Empire won't let me.
So we're talking about communication. I really, truly believe, like, that, especially with no coaching on the pit side anymore. I think that's awesome.
Love that.
It's such a good thing because what it does is it lets the best players out there play their game. And you really, you look at the top teams and the best players, it really is fundamental element of paintball is that, talking communication is just about as much about listening as it is about talking. A lot of guys are like, "Oh, I was communicating, I was shooting my gun and screaming, blah, blah, this and that." Yeah, man, you weren't listening. You were shooting your gun and screaming.
Yeah.
You didn't actually pause for a beat and like take some information in from cross field. You have to have some. It's an ebb and flow.
Yeah, exactly, ebb and flow. But it's got to be not just snake, 50 Dorito, back right. It's not saying that.
Yeah.
It's saying the bodies, where they are, where they're shooting, who's watching that lane. Hey, do you got that, or do you need me on that? Do we want to cross up? And that's having just a regular old conversation with your teammate.
We used to, back in the, when we were trying to train guys to get into that mind state, we would literally, Rich Telford or myself or any good bad guy.
I remember you guys took my gun away from me.
Yeah, we'd take your gun, or we'd, first thing we'd just start out, like, we just have a conversation. Be like, hey, shooting over the top of your head. Hey, trying to talk to you and be like, how was last night? How's your girlfriend? Like stuff like that. Just trying to get you in that mode where
you're relaxed.
You're relaxed.
You're very relaxed.
Your brain
you're having fun,
is functioning
the whole time.
Yeah, exactly. Or, and then fundamentally what it's going to come down to a lot of times is that, go in, and that's actually a great drill. If you want to improve somebody's communication,
go to Nikki Cuba's clinic.
That'll work too. Go to Nikki Cuba's clinic. That absolutely will work. Or or you can do the drills where basically it's like take someone's gun away. You take their gun away, and now you have nothing. The only weapon you have now is your voice. And and what happens is that all of a sudden you'll find that a guy, you take his gun away in a drill, do like a 3-on-4, 3-on-5 drill, take one of the 5's guns away, put him up front.
We got 2 seconds on the clock.
And it's golden. All right, here we go. It's all tied up to 2 apiece. You're looking at Vicious on your screen right now.
Spread even across.
Parker.
CEP making a good move to that Dorito one. Nice fill from the back center, but they lose their snake guy in the corner. Vicious has Bortle in the snake corner, which is great. What he needs to do is play on the outside of his bunker, wrap in, shut down the field, don't let anyone else fill out. He doesn't need to make the move up to the snake and be that aggressive guy. Where that comes from is the middle guy shifting over now because no one's shooting at him. He has a clear path. He is cutting down CEP's guy from making a move into the snake, which is great. But right now, he's got the ball. No one's shooting at him. He's got to make a move off of it.
Yeah, he does need to make
His
a move.
mirror is not looking at him.
So everyone, still CEP, 4 strong. They lost Evan Fife, number 71, dying.
And they just lost their Dorito guy.
They lose
and Bortle out of the snake side for Vicious. So CEP kind of evening it out. The guy in this can on the snake side is so crucial now.
Yeah, still no field position for either team, really, to speak of.
No. Everyone's playing slow, methodical paintball. That's what this field is.
Oh, and they lose.
Lazy paintball right there.
Yeah, just another CEP player getting shot.
Another one.
It's going to open it up now, just one.
That was from Hooker. Hooker gave him some love, little balls in his face.
Yeah, and here comes Hunting down the field.
Exchanges out, gets off the field, did his job. And that's what you want to do, folks. When you have a 3-4-on-1, send 1-2 of those guys to finish that guy off.
Absolutely.
Leave the other guy shooting to not let him out, and you guys pinch him. You guys shoot on both sides of the bunker. Let your guy go running down, have some fun. Give him a little love, a little night-night sucker.
Yep. And absolutely, and honestly, I you're very good at this, and Paxton's good at this, and there's some guys in the game that are very physical. Like paintball, like make no mistake about it, paintball is a physical game. Yeah, we're not tackling each other, but we're not punching each other in the face.
I wish we could
always, but at the same time, it's a very physical game, and your gun is an extension of your body. So there are some players that play that physical game, and I think that's a really important integral part of it. If you're gonna go take a guy down, like let him know what's up, let him know you're there, let him know you guys came to play the physical game.
It's just like boxing. It's just like hitting a dude in the NFL. You got the QB sack. You're going to light him up, all right? When you get that opportunity to go run someone down, you're going to light him up. I don't mean put him down and
not hurt him,
but
you want to let him know that
I'm here.
Yeah,
this
is
the game,
we
and
came
we're
to
coming
play.
to beat you.
It's very physical. All right, so we got the breakout here from that last point.
Who are we watching?
CEP on the breakout here and spreading out. Look at that aggressive move to that 30-yard line Dorito. You're not seeing that a lot. And all the way up to the center Cam, but they just lost too many bodies.
And as you've seen CEP break out, what Vicious doesn't have right here, as you can see, is a guy shooting to the left side for that guy sitting in the opening for that secondary fill. And that's an easy kill.
Yeah.
And they need to pick up on that. That's the coaches.
Yeah.
And the players, because they got to go back in and let them know the information.
And look at this, the run through at the very end. Nice job by Vicious. Vicious is really starting to pick up their level of aggression. And I think that comes with experience. You get out here, you get some reps, you get some spins against the best players.
And it's the practice against other good teams.
Yeah.
And passion, going out every weekend. Playing, because when we come here to this national event, this is our stage.
Yep.
And we have to shine.
Yes.
That's why you come here. This is why you train. This is why you do the blood, sweat, and tears.
Yep.
It's why you're not with your parents, your family and stuff like that. And you're able to perform out here. That's what you got to do.
So both these teams in a very close battle. It's 3-2 right now in favor of Vicious. Let's see if CEP, we're actually looking at Vicious right now in the breakout.
CEP, tight breakout.
Yeah, tight breakout. All five alive, but there's no field position. Whereas Vicious able to get out wide and up in the center. So much better field position for Vicious.
Oh, that guy's hit in his loader. He might get a penalty. And it's just...
Oh, CP on the delay, losing a lot of bodies, not able to get out. See, that is what happens when you get out wide early, and the team is forced to come out into your lane.
Get out wide early, and they control the outsides. And now the center guys, they got the feast off of the guys trying to bump out. You got Hooker, some other dude in the middle. They were crossed up. And on this field, you can't see those guys in the center on the opposite side of the field.
No.
Until it's too late and you're diving.
Yeah.
And then it's, 50-50 shot.
Yeah, at that point, you're just rolling the dice. Brian Bortle able to get into the 50-yard line snake on the spectator side of the field. He's got a great shot on the back center. Nice job by Brian Bortle. That's what I'm talking about. That's what Vicious needs. They need production out of him out of here or off this side, and they're really starting to get it.
That's what you need. You need your front players to still be alive. If your front players are still alive and shooting more than one guy, that's their job, is to get on the field, shoot one guy, get off the field. If they can shoot one guy, stay alive the whole game, that is awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, so the score is now 4-2. Vicious in the driver's seat, just about at the 10-minute mark. And in case you're just tuning in, you are watching the PSP New Jersey Open. I'm Matty Marshall, and I'm up here with Nikki Cuba from Team Infamous.
What up?
And
it's a great day.
We're kind of near. This is a home event for you.
Yeah, it is.
I know you're from New York, not New Jersey, but it's the same area.
My record on the East Coast was immaculate. Not so much today or yesterday. I mean, we're 0-5 since Chicago. I'll let you know how it is. 0-5 since Chicago.
You always speak the truth.
I haven't ever done that in my whole career, and I haven't not made Sunday 2 times in a row, and I've done that. But it's a learning experience, for our team.
Yeah, I want to pick your brain about that. But first, let's check out a little bit of that action here. You're looking at Brian Bortle, bottom part of your screen there, and then CEP just dropping like flies. And they're really having a hard time now, these last couple points, living in their bunkers. And it's just really been, Vicious is winning those breakouts. They're getting out wide, and they're definitely winning their gunfights. So now,
they're getting out wide, but it's still up to CEP to stay calm, cool, collective. That's what you got to do. Yes, they're out wide. Yes, they're in the spots, but you could still win if you're in those back spots and you're still alive. Mm-hmm. If you're just running and dying, not so much.
Yeah, exactly.
It's smart bumps when you need to.
So, you guys trained really hard for this event, too.
Yes, 7 days. We were here early, practicing every single day. I have nothing but the utmost respect for all my teammates. I'm proud of them. Every single last one of them.
Yeah,
they put in the time.
Yep.
We, it was serious the whole week. No going out. Just wake up, train, go home, sleep, eat, same thing the next day.
Well, you're doing all the right things. All right, so here on the breakout, you're looking at CEP, and looks like a clean breakout for them. 5 alive again, doubling up that back center, and they have 5 guns up.
Vicious dropping a guy trying to fill up. Hooker trying to fill up as well. He makes it. Now he's locking down the snake zone, which is a great bunker right now. The snake can has to look so far in. He doesn't see him until he's in the middle between the can and the race bunker.
Yeah, you know, Chris Hooker is such a great example of, hey, man, you know, if you're at home and you're like, you know, I'm too big to play at top-level paintball, you know, I mean.
You're just not trying hard enough then.
Yeah, I agree, because Chris Hooker, I mean, obviously he's innately talented, but, you know, he's lost a lot of weight, and he's in good, he's getting in better shape, and more props to him for working really hard to achieve that. But his strength really is he's got a very high paintball IQ and such a monster gunfighter off the break. You know,
are you just saying that he's not a fitness model just because you are? Because you're such a fitness model.
Look, Nikki, just because you have man boobs and the rest of us don't, you know, why you gotta make fun of us? Because we're pectorally challenged.
You guys are still watching quality game right now. CEP trying to fight back. It's 3-4.
Yeah, tons of time left. You know, 8:52 on the clock, and they're only down by 2. And again, we've been talking about the respect that CEP has been learning, because what they've been doing, they haven't been winning a lot of games, but they've been keeping it very close against very good teams. They've been up on the Russians, 1-point matches.
Bortle making a nice move, smart, methodical move from this kid. This kid is playing on point right now, and he needs to relax. He's the furthest guy out here. There's actually 2 guns tied up on him, so that means someone else isn't being shot at, and they got to make the move.
Yeah, they got that ball. Ball we always talk about.
Yeah, you got the guy in the Dorito 1. CP making a nice move to really even out this field.
Yeah, and who's shooting at the guy trying to make a move into Dorito 1 right now? There's
no one
shooting at that guy. So,
well, 21 needs to look in.
There, now
he's not. It's too late.
His move.
And they filled in. That's a great fill right there.
And we talked about, I had Eric Roberts up here early, and he had a really good point.
Who's that?
Eric, exactly. Love that guy. And so he was talking about how, look, if you're a front guy, because I was asking him, hey, what's your mind state, or was your mind state when you were in there, because you're such a great player for so long? He's like, look, man, you're in that 50-yard line spot. You're getting your information a lot of times from the streams of paintballs.
Yep.
You know, you're watching these streams of paintballs come in at you, or you're listening to them, or you're watching behind you to see where the paintballs are hitting, and that's a lot of times you can figure out who's on you, where they're shooting from,
how close they are, because how loud it is.
Exactly.
It is way different if you're getting shot at from the corner guy rather than your mirror, and you know that. And being in the snake, seeing the streams come over the top, you're seeing the angle that they're coming at, so you can pick and choose when you come up.
And we were talking about, you know, Vicious player a little hesitant to make that move into Snake 1 on the pit side of the field. You know, he could have made that. He got in there, so he's doing fine. Now he's in the 50-yard line. He's doing great. But the thing is that, you know, again, the speed at the pro level is those windows close. So when you're playing a team that's on point, like, you know, Dynasty's playing great. They played great the first day. We'll see how they play this afternoon.
They didn't have anyone really that gave them any sort of game.
Yeah.
You know, their tough games are going to be today.
But the point that I'm trying to make is, and I agree with you, we'll see what they're made of. But the point is that those windows close quickly. So the longer you wait to make that move when it's there, the less chance it's actually going to be there when you're playing the best teams in the league.
Yeah.
You know, and as somebody who's like really refined their timing over the years, that's probably something you could speak to as well, you know? All right, so 4-2 is our score. Chris Hooker up in the center.
Yeah. Dude, I would just think I got to make this run from the back corner to the Snake 50 instead of they're giving me an inch. I'm going to take an inch and I'm going to jump into the race bunker. Then I'm going to jump into Dorito. Then I'll go into the Snake. Back
Small
before
bites.
I had Maddie smacking me around and Rich and Davey. And they fine-tuned me after, you know, all the other guys that I played with on Shock and on Ground Zero.
But it's like, you know, it's like MMA. You go to different camps to learn different things. You got to learn kickboxing from this guy and, you know, jiu-jitsu from this guy. You went to a lot of different camps and learned a lot of different things. You know, Smash Mouth Paintball from Aftershock. You got your aggression and that wild style from the East Coast, and you came to the West Coast and really refined your game by playing against the top guys all the time.
Then I had to be like, sir, I hit you. Please get out.
Oh, yeah, that's exactly how you do it.
That's how Matt does it.
Please.
San Diego, you know, all nice and friendly. Warm and cozy.
Hey,
invite
man,
you
I
into your
gotta
home.
yell. Let my gun do my talking for me.
Thanks for letting me live with you.
It's okay.
know.
Anytime. You're like my
Thanks
baby
for all those
bro.
Thanksgivings, you know.
You're my baby bro. All right, so
CP dropping another one.
Yeah,
He's going to make it 5-2, 5 minutes left on this clock. But CEP is playing good, you know. Can't take that away from them. They're losing right now, but they're still, taking the spots. They're still playing aggressive. They don't got their heads down.
Mm-hmm.
They're not moping off the field. They're running off the field, and
Yes.
they're like, all right, what can we do? What do we got to do to fix this? And maybe that necessarily isn't the players. Maybe it's the coach also that affects it as well. Maybe it's the play calling. Everything is a puzzle to a piece of the puzzle.
And that's why it's so hard and complicated to be successful at this, and why it takes a long time. Now, when you're looking at CP in this particular game, okay, we can break it down. They're definitely losing the close points. They're shooting some guys off the break. They're not really making the aggressive moves that Vicious is making on a consistent basis. And as far as their game plans are concerned, their game plans are okay.
I've only seen him make one aggressive move, and it was to that Dorito snake.
But it's tough to tell at this point, is it a game plan issue? Because they really haven't even got to necessarily play out a lot of the game plans.
I'm not seeing them utilize what the earlier session was utilizing, which is that center 50 Dorito, or the A, coming up into these small little turret on the Dorito side in the center of the field, and the tall tower, getting up in there, shooting guys coming out wide, and then making a quick move so that they don't think that you're still in that spot and you got the drop on them.
Yeah. All right, so in case you're just tuning in, the score, Vicious 5, Chattanooga CEP 2. I'm Matty Marshall. I'm up here with Nicky Cuba from Team Infamous, giving us his expert insight into the game of paintball. So, Nicky, what's going on in your life real quick before we start this point?
Chilling, baby. I'm loving life. Getting ready to have a baby in November
Isabella.
with my girl. Yeah.
Love that.
My girl and my mom were here, so that was awesome. They never get to see me play.
All right, on the breakout, you're looking at Vicious digging
Vicious
in.
getting shot, and we'll see what they do. Is that a penalty? Get him out. Thank you.
They're lucky he didn't shoot
I should
his
be
gun.
a ref from up here.
So CEP,
Four
doubling
guys,
up. Yeah, 4 guys alive. Apparently they lost a player off the break.
along with Vicious. So it's 4-on-4. And right now, CEP is actually in the best position, but their Dorito guy is not playing it the right way.
And they just lost a player trying to come out of
Forcing
that back
it.
center.
Forcing the issue.
Ran out directly into the stream.
Do you see this Dorito guy, folks? I don't know if you see him on your field. You got Rezer from Vicious coming through, and he just murked that fool on the other side of the field because he wasn't paying attention.
Referee in there, checking him out, pulling him out. It might be no penalty.
Now it's a 2-on-3. Red flag coming. CEP.
Oh, it's Trevor Resner over here for Vicious doing work in the snake, and CEP getting a major penalty. And
CEP had that game. They had the guy in the Dorito, but he was playing cross field and not aggressive. He wasn't playing to make the moves up the field. He was playing to sit.
that was the worst time to get, well, one of the worst times to get it. It's never a good time to get a major penalty, but when you're down 5-2 and the point is close, you really don't want to put your team in a hole by trying to live in that black area. And CEP, unfortunately, that's what they ended up doing. But this, it just doesn't look good for them. As the score now is, as the referees are checking out Zach Sherman, and it looks like the score, if he's clean, is going to be going to 6-2. Again, this is a race to 7. Here in the professional leagues at the PSP, Paintball Sports Promotions. And Vicious appears that they are going to be 1 point away from a victory here against CEP.
Who's coming up next?
Yeah, next up, we have Los Angeles Ironman taking on X Factor, and then Dynasty versus CEP. And they're going to be coming up again. Looks like we have that penalty.
Yep, it's being assessed.
Yeah, and so you're looking at it right now on your screen. That's the top left-hand portion of your screen. And boom, there it is. You see that flag go in the air. The red flag is a major. And in case you're unfamiliar with how the penalties break down, you have 2-minute majors, 1-minute minors. The minors come off the board if you lose the point, stay on if you win. And if you draw a major penalty that time, 2 minutes, you're going to have to do it no matter what, whether you win or lose the point.
Yep.
So far, Vicious, they've struggled in this event. They got 7-0'd against Dynasty and 7-2'd against the Ironman. Now that's those are 2 solid teams. The Ironman kind of in a bit of a rebuilding stage though.
They're playing good though.
But they are
since the
playing
last
good.
event.
Their kids are really stepping it up. You talk to those guys, and I talked to a couple of them.
They're training hard every weekend. They're working out. They're putting in the extra time on and off the field.
Yeah, so we got Ironman taking on X Factor.
5 seconds coming up for this breakout. 4-on-5, 4 for CP.
All right, there's the breakout for Vicious, getting out to that back corner, and then they lose Parker Rosenthal
So
right
now
off
it's even,
break.
4-4.
It looks like they might have lost
No
Hooker.
one's watching this zone.
I think Hooker might have got shot in his loader, and I didn't feel it. That might be a penalty.
And
it's going to be minor penalty on Hooker, and it's probably going to pull out Bortle, who's the
Pull that Bortle.
But then also Vicious losing another player pretty much right after that, so they're going to concede this point.
They conceded the point.
So CEP going to get a gift off that penalty from Chris Hooker in the center.
5-3, and Vicious blew that buzzer. If you guys don't know why, they wanted to save the penalty time. They wanted to keep them with that minute 15 and not let any more time get burned off.
All right, so again, coming up directly after this match, we have the Los Angeles Ironmen going to be taking on San Antonio X Factor. And the story with X Factor, we were just speaking about the Ironmen, got those young kids on the team. But X Factor, they, again, a team been around for a long time. They brought the band back together. They have a lot of their original players back, and a lot of them playing well. They also had really good practice against Damage and the 106-degree Texas Heat. That's going to be coming at you next. Got the breakout from that last point here. And you're checking it. That's CEP right there on the they only have 4, so Vicious on that power play from the penalty before, and then Vicious getting their own penalty. And you're looking at Vicious here on their breakout, spreading the field wide and walking up. Brian Bortle walking up to that spot. You see his gun is shooting towards the snake on the pit side of the field, and he's just not getting off it. And then he switches hands, still continuing to stay in that lane.
It's a good cut. If you guys haven't played this field, what he was doing was stopping the guy in the Dorito from advancing up into that snake on the pit side. That's a good bunker. We practiced that in practice, and it worked out well. But on that play, I don't think that they should have did that. I think they should have had Bortle heads up. He's been playing really good and getting down the field. That's not a spot for him. Maybe put someone else there.
Yeah, I agree. And you got a guy doing work, and he's one of your weapons. You really got to free him up to let him do that, to do what he's good at. And Vicious has a lot of guys that are good at sweet spotting, good at holding lanes. So I would rather, as putting a game plan together, put Bortle not on a spot where
Hook just got shot in his pack from Bortle, right in his pod.
Yeah, that's a tough one to feel, too.
Oh, you don't feel that at all.
Yeah,
I don't know if that penalty was deserving.
That's Hooker, 2 penalties in a row for Chris Hooker, 2 minor penalties. And he typically doesn't get a lot of penalties. So that's
Bortle's gun is down in the corner because he's not shooting an Empire Axe.
So, Bortle's having some issues, but now CEP moving upfield and trying to put another point on the board and press this advantage that they have because of that Hooker penalty. Now, Hooker's going to be coming out of that box in about 33 seconds, so somebody's need to get in position to get a shot on him as he comes out. We just cracked the 3-minute mark, and we also have a 3-point spread right here with Vicious with 6, only 1 point away from a victory.
Bortle got his gun up finally. That's good.
So, yeah, Bortle is back up here and shooting down the sidelines, trying to contain Keene, who's in 50-yard line snake for CEP.
They have a 2-on-3 right now. Vicious with the 2, CEP with the 3. CEP making a nice move to make the field across the 50s. Now they got 3 bodies across the 50s. Hooker makes it out.
And immediately makes his presence
3-on-3.
felt. So Hooker immediately guns up on Keene and the snake, knowing that is definitely one of the thorns in Vicious's side. However, problem is, CEP's got their crossfield lineup's awesome right now. They have all the 50-yard line bunkers.
But they just let Vicious slip out to that first Dorito, and I don't think anyone actually picked it up yet.
Yeah, I don't think anyone picked it up. He's going to have to get a kill out of that to really make a difference.
Snake Guy knows because he has the coaches on this side, but everyone else doesn't know, and I don't think he's actually even talking, which you need to be relaying that info. Someone needs to.
Well, Keene's picked up on it, so Keene should tell the center player, and then the center player needs to tell.
Now he just did. Good call by Keene.
So again here, same field position as CEP makes another move.
CEP just got their body out of the box, so now it's a 4-on-3. Hooker making a nice move to the Dorito side, tall temple. He's going to lock down the snake. And if he practiced it, he should know that there's a bounce shot off of that finger, Matt, into the snake.
Well, it's not Keen in the snake. It's Fife. It's number 71 for CEP, and he's got Barrett Edgerton, who is in the center A, the center right direct middle of the field. And you're looking at Fife on your screen right now. And, you know, Fife, oh, here goes.
Nice move.
There goes Barrett making his move.
Good move. Oh, my. Oh. And there's a penalty being assessed, a 5-minute on Vicious.
Oh, and it's on Chris Hooker again.
No, it was on the Dorito. Chris Hooker got pulled out for it.
Okay. I was like, wow, Hooker.
And the tables have turned, Charlie Murphy.
Well, I don't know. I mean, there's only 41 seconds left, and to me, this game's over.
It's 5-4.
I think it's
should be 5-4, right?
6-4.
Oh,
with 41
I got a
seconds.
poll in front of me. Sorry.
So with the score 6-4 with 41 seconds,
yeah, it's pretty much out of reach.
It's pretty much out of reach, and now when Vicious goes back and replays this game in their meeting, they're really going to need to talk about how they kind of started to fall apart here at the end. And CEP, it's good that they came back, but a lot of this was based on these penalties. It's 3 penalties. Now I'll tell you what. I watched both the penalties that Hooker got. One penalty was a ball hitting the top of his loader, which is, you should kind of feel that one, but that's sometimes really hard.
But with the new products, it's you sometimes don't feel because it's like a rubbery
that's true. So it absorbs
outside,
the impact, and you can't hear the click as much. And then also, the other penalty that he got was off the very hanging pod. And you're not going to feel that one. So it's just got caught some bad luck. We have a replay here. You're looking at that. So you're looking at CEP coming into Vicious right now.
They're on Vicious side.
And look at this. Bortle ends up trying to pick him up, and Bortle finally picks him up right there. They're coming from the center and up the other side. Oh, and there's that penalty. So, it's just a situation for Vicious where they really need to focus on playing clean when you're up body or when you're up points.
And they come into this, actually, all the events that they've played in this league, this is their worst part of their game, is the end. They got the lead and they'll give it back. They'll let people come back on them. And that's going to change.
Well, the end game is a very much an experience thing. You really have to. A lot of times you get elated. You're like, oh, God, we're up 3 points. This is awesome. We're playing great. And you just let back on the throttle a little bit. And you never can let back on the throttle. Even when you are in a situation where you're up points, even if you're not going to aggressively push up the field and play and roll the dice, you still want to gun up
aggressive
hard.
Move, making it to that Dorito. And he's clean. He made that 50 Dorito.
Nice job by CEP all the way
30
up
seconds
in the center
on the
of the
clock. They got to get moving down this field. And they got a G from that Dorito 50 shooting this back left snake side. Now they got to come through. They got to start running through the field. 15 seconds.
Yeah, they need to go. Again, Die going
go
forward.
gun up.
They're making moves. It's not enough time. They're starting to chop up Vicious as they head in there. Robbie Goldsmith making his move up the center. And getting all the way to the back line, and Parker Rosenthal
and he gets
major
a 5
penalty. So major penalty will be assessed, but it's not going to matter because that is going to give Vicious the victory. So nice job by Vicious going 0-2 yesterday and really struggling against a strong Dynasty squad and an Ironman squad where the younger players are really starting to come into their own. We're going to see them play next against X Factor. But, Vicious now going to be 1-2, and Chattanooga CEP is going to drop to 0-3. But again, about CEP, if you're a CEP fan, know that they are very much trying to improve their game, and they're taking their lumps as well as they possibly can and learning from their mistakes. So. And the story of that game was, in the beginning, was just really that Vicious was overpowering, and then they started getting those penalties, and CEP was taking that to their advantage. Anyway, coming at you next, Los Angeles Ironman, San Antonio X Factor. I'm Matty Marshall. I got Nikki Cube up here, and we will be right back after this. Do not go anywhere.